Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Thanks, Keith, for getting us shared out. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Rift Nation Network. I am your hostess, Joni Skinner, for the evening. Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, where we combine astrology with true crime. Tonight is a special night, though, because as everyone knows, it's right before the election. So I thought we would take a look at the election event charts, have a little bit of fun with them. Let's see what's going on behind the scenes. And also, we are going to have the Delphi homicides, Libby and Abby. We're going to have an update. That trial is right now. So come on in, everybody. Let's check the chat, check in with the chat. How are you guys doing? Where's everybody? Why don't you guys stick in the chat where you're all from? Hi, Miss Sue. How are you? Miss Monica. I hope everybody's doing well. Hello, Miss Lee. Welcome, Keith. Welcome to Scorpio season. Hi, Miss Michelle. How are you? And Lee said, prayers up for Kathy. Okay, prayers up for Kathy, everybody. Keith, why more Nebraska, USA? Miss Tammy, how are you, my dear? Welcome, everybody. Miss Lee is PA. Michelle, South Alabama. I know Sue, the Otter's Den Paranormal live feeds. I like that, Keith. Are we on a live feed with Paranormal feed? Oh, Kathy's not feeling well, everybody. So please, everybody, let's send Miss Kathy a lot of good vibes to get to feeling better. Send her some good vibes, light a candle, send her a lot of good positive energy. Hope she feels well. I hope everybody's doing well. You know, it's kind of a weird time here right now. So Monica is Southern VA. How are you, my dear? Lee says one day I'll move out of PA. I hear you. I want to move to like the Bahamas or something, maybe. I want to move somewhere. So I don't know. It's a weird time to be here. I'll tell you, you guys, it's bizarre. I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. I'm going to show you all in the charts why we are feeling this because I found it. I found it. I found it. I looked at them. Wait till you see what I found. It's really cool. And I'll explain what's going on in the charts. We also have Harris's chart, and we also, excuse me, we also have Trump's chart up. So I'll show you why. We've got a weird vibe going on, and it's all out there. It's all in the energy. So at least we know what it is, because sometimes when it feels weird and the energy is just wonderful, it's like, uh-oh, what's happening? I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So it's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear at all. Actually, it's not that bad. So everybody breathe. It's not bad. I've seen a lot. We've been through a lot more this summer leading up to this next week or whenever elections are. I'm not quite sure when they are. But welcome to Rift Nation Network, and just a program update. Next Wednesday, we won't have True Crime Show, but we're going to have the Rift Nation Network Halloween show. So it's going to be all the hosts will be on one show. So we're going to have that next Wednesday. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with another True Crime episode. So that'll be fun. I think that'll be really fun. So let's get going, you guys. I hope everybody's doing fine. Get out and vote early, too. That's what I'm telling people, because there's some weird energy. I'll show it to you when we get to the charts. Let's get some info on the Delphi case. I know we have discussed this case repeatedly over and over again. As you all know, in 2017 in Delphi, Indiana, Abby and Libby, the two young darling girls were brutally unalived in Delphi, Indiana. And I saw this picture. This is from an old slideshow. And we all know about the famous bridge guy with the audio tape of Down the Hill. They released the 40-second video in court. Now, in court, be reminded there are no cameras. There are no phones. You can't have your phone. The only thing that the judge is permitting is notes. So there's a girl, Hidden True Crime. She does updates at lunch and in the evening. She's doing a really good job of updating the trial. Right now, they're pretty well going over the forensic evidence. They haven't gotten down to any of the true crime stuff that like we usually cover. They've gone over crime scene photos. They've gone over the autopsy information. So it's they've talked to the detectives. It's pretty heart-wrenching stuff to hear. But there are some things that have come up that are very interesting that we've all wondered about the past 7 years. That picture of Bridge Guy is not, that is a picture that they made as a still, kind of. It was Abby at the very end of the bridge. He came up behind Abby, and then Libby was filming it. So it's a weird thing with the video that came out. The clothing was found. I'm going to show you let me get some pictures. Okay, as you all know, it was the Monon High Bridge trail where the girls were, and it's down that way. There is the very famous photo of the bridge guy. Okay, now keep in mind, the man that is on trial is 5'4" tall. The two girls were 5'4" tall as well. Keep that in mind. That picture, to me, I don't know, who knows if he did it. This is an animated photo. This is not, unless, this is at the end. This is just an animated photo of the girls. This, again, is the crime scene. As you can see the creek. They did, Abby was dressed in Libby's clothing. Libby did not have clothing on, which we all pretty well knew that. It was a head and neck injuries. Let's see what else. They did find Abby's clothing in the creek on the opposite side of the creek. Abby was dressed in Libby's clothing. That was pretty. Thought that was pretty striking information. They had some. There's none of the person that is apparently. There's no. The one officer, the tech that testified, he was not aware of any DNA, any trace, anything to lead back to Richard Allen, the man that is on trial, that was found at the crime scene. They went over the crime scene. Apparently it was a very ugly mess. But like I said, if you want more information, go see Hidden True Crime, and she's on YouTube. Now, what I found was interesting. We know that Abby had her phone, or Libby had her phone that day. She was a little champion. Remember, she was very, very brave. The girl that witnessed the video said that it sounded to her that one of the girls said there's no trail down that way. It was very sketchy. And so we'll wait and hear what other reporters are saying about the video. The girl that saw it stated that it looked like, like if I were taking a video, it would be up and all around. That's what it looked like. That's what she did say. They were at the end of the bridge. However, I was very surprised to see that the girl's clothing was found on one side of the bridge, and nobody found that clothing while they were searching that evening. I find that very odd that the clothing that I would think that they would have that's where they would have searched, down by the creek. They didn't take the temperature of the water that day. They didn't know how cold it was. They stated that the clothing that Abby was wearing was still damp and wet, which tells us they went across the creek. Now, what happened is Abby's phone was found underneath a shoe, or Libby's phone, my bad. Her phone somehow turned on at 4. Now remember, they are saying that the girls were unalived somewhere between 2 and 3 to about 3:30, 2 and 3 in the afternoon of February 13th, 2017. Abby's phone turned back on at 4:33 a.m. and all of the text messages from everybody saying, "Where are you girls?" loaded onto her phone. So the prosecution is going to come out, or the defense is going to come out. We already know they're going to say somebody turned on that phone. Now, why would a psychopath turn on the phone? You just don't know. So we did a chart a long time ago with the girls. I decided to do a chart at 4:33 a.m., the time that Libby's phone came back on. This is shocking what I found on this chart. Now look at this. Now you guys know the victims would be the girls over in the first house, the ascendant. They're the ascendant, the first black line right by the they're right there. Saturn is like right at the it's right there at the ascendant, which would be the remains. Pluto, is right there. Saturn, they're hidden, but Pluto's right there, which would be the unalive. We go over and look at the perp, which is the cusp of the 7th house. It's Gemini. Now, you guys know whenever we see a crime chart or an event chart and it's Libra or Gemini, it's 2 people. 2 or more people are involved. It never fails. Those are the dual signs. Excuse me. So I think it's very probable, just according to the astrology, that there were 2 perps. It would not surprise me in the least. Just because common sense tells me that the prosecutor is saying that the girls at 2:17, I believe, was when she took the video, and he would have left by 3:00. Murder, or unalive 2 girls, horrific scene. Covered them up with sticks. Some people claim posed, and dressed one of the girls in wet clothing. Now, who would have I don't know how much, he's 5'4". So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what the evidence is. Then we go up to the 10th house where the girls are, because they are represented by Jupiter. What do you know? Libra, 2 victims. So our chart is telling us 2 victims, and there were 2 perps that carried this crime out. Up at the top of the chart is always out in the open. We also know that down in the 2nd house, we see the sun. One of them would have been an older male. We see in the 3rd house, and the 3rd house designates, that says what was going on. Where was the movement going on during this crime? Look at all that activity in the 3rd house. Unexpected chaos. Mars would have been the violence to the females. Chiron has suffered injuries, bodily injuries, and it's in Aries. Aries rules the face. The wounds were up here, up by the ear, up on the left. Well, one was on the left side of the neck, so it was neck and head. That's what Aries rules. This chart really says a lot about the 4:33 a.m. time. It tells us the girls were out in the open. They were ambushed, which they were, and they're at the IC. Remember the IC? They're right at that cusp. IC is the end of the matter, down at the bottom at 21. IC, they're right there. Uranus is right on the IC. Very violent with Aries in that third house too. It just suffered injury. It's a nasty chart. So I found that interesting. The phone would be Mercury. Neptune would be a video. So we know that she had a video. We know that she did the video. She had a wherewithal. We have a malefic degree of 22 in Chiron. That's horrible. That's not good. We've got Black Moon Lilith up there in the House of Friends. Keith, what does 77 mean? Or 2 sevens? Would that be the 2 girls? Do you know what that would mean? From numerology? Sue's in here too. Sue, what would the 77 be? Hi, Kristen. How are you, hon? I don't know what that would be because I'm not a numerologist. But Sue or Keith, what would that mean? Would that be what would 77 be? I'm not sure. So I'm going to keep my eyes on this trial and keep following it. And when more information comes out, yes, they have access, that they have done downloads on this phone like 3 or 4 times. They continue to do that and get evidence off of it. That's what they're doing. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, right now they're concentrating on, how they were unalived and the crime scene, what they uncovered from the crime scene. What I found funny is the fact that they claim that those sticks were laid out in a fashion of some kind of a, cult or, the Odinism. Now, there was blood all over these sticks. The police did not collect the sticks. And there are pictures, the one gal said, of them. Someone is holding up a sock. They don't even have gloves on. So the CSI people are not even using gloves to collect the material. So that's kind of a frightening thing right there. So I think the collection of the material from the crime scene is going to be an issue. I mean, gloves, trace evidence, anything. There was another bombshell. There was a hair wrapped around Abby's hands, and they only took that hair to get it tested last week. 7 years. And her hands were under the sweatshirt. So whose hair is that? It's not the man on trial. There's just a lot of sloppy, you can see already a lot of sloppy work. And any good defense attorney is going to tear that apart. They're going to tear it apart. So you said the time was 4:33. To me, that's a 77. Could verify the 2 people you see could be a road, mile marker, highway. Oh, okay. Okay. So it could be a clue. Oh, I caught you off guard. I'm sorry. 7 is Neptune and hidden. 2, 7 equal 14. 5 will be outside of boundaries. More things are out of area. and FBI kept something secret. No, they told the FBI to get off the case. There's a lot of weirdness going on around this case. Keith, I found a hair in the freezer. I saw in my vision when I found, yeah, took it, but refused to DNA test it. That's crazy. That's crazy. I would. Can you take it and get it back and have the DNA? Drugs are also with Neptune. Absolutely, drugs are with Neptune. Absolutely. But I don't, they did not, I'm not sure about the toxology reports on the girls. However, they did do an SA kits. They said there was no evidence from the SA, but that doesn't mean they weren't SA'd. Okay? Because anytime you have little girls undressing in front of a grown man, I call that an SA in and of itself. So that's the update. I'm going to stay on it. So far, from what I'm hearing, I'm not really impressed with with what I'm hearing from more on. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what comes out. The only thing apparently it seems to me. Oh, they did interview the witnesses that saw Bridge Guy. The witnesses that saw Bridge Guy, everybody is describing a different person. So we have eyewitnesses that are describing a different person. I found that odd too. I don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see. I can't wait till they get into the forensic evidence that they do indeed have. So we'll see what they've got. They've got a unspent round from a gun that wasn't found on the day, but it was that claimed to be found in between the girls or near the girls. And it's an unspent round, but you had a lot. How many law enforcement officers were walking around that area bent over with a weapon? How do we know it wasn't one of the officers? We don't know. It's an unspent round. So it's going to be something to watch this. So what's interesting about this trial in Indiana, the jurors are allowed to ask questions to the witnesses. Every juror can submit questions. The questions from the jurors were really good. They were excellent. Like, how do you process? What is the process of what you find at a crime scene? What is that process? I mean, they had some really good questions. So, but like I said, right now it's pretty much the death of the girls. So we'll wait and I'll keep you guys updated. So it's ongoing now, and she's got court on Saturdays too. She wants to get through this trial. So that's that case. That's the Delphi case. Now let's get into, aren't we all ready? Ready for the flag. Here we go. We've got Harris, we got Trump, we've got election day. I was interested in the election day chart. I'm sorry it's a mess, you guys, because of the fact that we're hearing that, there could be this going on or that going on. So I wanted to make sure that we were all going to be safe. For starters, you can see in the beginning of the chart, this is the United States natal chart, July 4th, I think, July 5th, 1776 in Philadelphia. That's the natal chart of the U.S. It's the Sibley chart. Everybody uses what we call the Sibley chart. What is going around the wheel are the transits on that day. So the big green arrow is we are in the Pluto return in the United States. Pluto will be right at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and then it's done. We're out of the Pluto returned. Pluto is opposing the god of war, Mars, that day of the election. Okay, so that's the two explosive planets, and they're fighting. Now, Mars is at 0 degrees of Leo. It just goes into Leo, but right before that, it's in Cancer. Cancer, if you look up at the US chart, the United States chart is actually a Cancerian chart. It's all Cancer. We got, we've got Mercury, the Sun, Jupiter, and Venus, all in Cancer in our chart in the US. I don't like the Mars Pluto. It can get ugly. However, in the Pluto return, Pluto is showing us what we did. And it's so ironic that this is the last time falls on election day in the Pluto return. In Capricorn, Capricorn is the government. It's really kind of spooky. It's really it kind of freaked me out a little bit. Pluto is showing us the underworld. Pluto is the god. It's the underworld. It's the things we don't want to see. It's turning the darkness into light. Mars up there with the Cancer. Cancer is the mother. Cancer is the nurturer. Cancer is the motherland. So Mars is saying, I want bravery. It's the warrior. And then going into Leo, he gets even more braver. So I think it's basically Mars giving people the courage to see what we're being shown from the darkness to the light. And what I like about this chart, look at the pink line in the 4th house. That's the people, the moon, the homeland. Saturn, which is the planet of restrictions, it's karma. Saturn is together with the moon. That's, being within your boundaries. It's being restrictive. It's being mature. It's being wise. What else looks good in this chart? I'll show you. So the only thing we've really got to worry about, this is excellent. We've got Venus and the moon in Sag, which is the mood of the country. Sagittarius is a wonderful sign. That's wonderful. I love that. They're conjunct. The moon and Venus. It's wonderful. That's the female vote, by the way, I think. That's the females. Females are coming out. So I highlighted, because Venus is the females, I highlighted that opposition up there. It's just kind of hitting, I don't like that opposition. But we've got Jupiter sitting on the United States as Mars. Jupiter's in retrograde. That just revs everything up even more. That just gets Mars a little bit bigger. Oh, jeez. We're in a Chiron conjunct Chiron. So much healing going on. The only thing is that opposition. I think I would vote early. I think I would get done. I wouldn't be around any place that evening or that day. Just because this can turn, Pluto Mars can ignite quickly. It's one of those, it's one of those things that, Mars when it's in Leo at 0 degrees, just edging over that day, it's loud. He's loud and he's proud and he's very bold. And Pluto's just sitting up on that perch going, I'm showing you everything. It's time for the darkness to go into the light before I head into the house of media, communications. That's where Pluto's headed the next 20 years. I'm done. This is my final now be brave. That's what I'm picking up from that. I could be completely wrong because it can be a violent transit. It can be. It can be. But I think with that moon in Saturn, um, it's the people not being angry. They're holding back. They're restrictive. So I don't see that. Um, if you want to look at it via party lines, um, the conservative, the Republicans are Saturn. I think Neptune. Where's Neptune? Neptune's down there too. Neptune are the Democrats. That's Neptune is down there, but Neptune's not doing anything. You know, that's excellent because when Neptune is involved, we have a lot of trickery. We got shenanigans with Neptune. Neptune is not transiting or aspecting anything. Excellent. 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 We'll look at the well, it is up there with Mercury. But it's in good with Mercury. So I'm saying all okay. I'm saying we're okay. I think we're going to be okay. And I'm going to keep looking. Here's Keith. Local law enforcement attempting to frame someone they want. Oh, are you talking about Delphi? Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, Keith, just to arrest someone because the pressure was on them. Yes. They knew he came forward. I'll give you a little information on that. He came forward to them and said, I was down at the bridge that day, but I left by such and such time. And in the opening statements, the defense said out his phone records will prove that he left before any of the incidents occurred. So his size bothers me. He's little. He's 5'4". The girls are 5'4", but he also had weapons. You know, he also, if he had a gun and was holding a gun, that would, you know, that says a lot. We'll keep up with it. Okay, that's the USA chart. Does anybody have any questions on that? Sue, do you want to add anything more to this chart? Do you see anything else? Uranus is not, I mean, we've got the opposition. That's enough. We don't need to deal with anything else. I love the Moon Venus conjunction. I love that. That's a lot of female energy right there, and they're in Sag emotionally. So, and look at that. Pluto is right there on that Pluto return, and they're both opposing Mars. Mars is saying bravery. Mars can be bravery too. Mars is the warrior in Leo. He's loud. Okay, let's take a look at, these are interesting charts. Okay, this is Trump's chart. Now we've looked, I know on Keith's show, we've looked at both of these charts before. What's interesting, the purple arrows are the really, okay, the purple arrow up at the top where it says Algol, Uranus. Uranus with Algol has triggered his MC for 2 through 3 of the attempts. Okay. That's up there. So Uranus is up there with up at his MC, up at his midheaven, which could be unexpected, but it's been up there all summer. That's not a big deal. He's got, this is crazy. He's a Gemini, sun in Gemini. We all know Jupiter is in Gemini right now. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and blessings. Jupiter is in retrograde right now. headed back into that. Jupiter will be exact on the day of the election on his north node. What's the north node? North node is destiny. Jupiter is also conjunct his sun. Okay? Those are excellent. That's beyond an excellent transit when you hit. But in 2020 he was in his nodal return. He should have won in 2020. That's surprising. So we've also got, let me see what else I got. I got my notes. What else does he have? Let's see. Trump. Oh, his Mercury is trining the sun in Scorpio. Trine is excellent. Trine is blending of the heart of the energies. The moon and Venus conjunction is exact on his natal moon. That's the people. That's the people in the chart. That moon Venus conjunction on his moon is wild. You know, it's going to be a weird, I don't know. You know, a lot of astrologers are talking about that Mars hitting his Pluto. His Pluto is at 10. His Pluto is at 10 degrees. Mars is only going to be at 0 degrees. That's too wide. That's too wide. I'm not buying that. Mars is conjunct his Venus, which is good. I don't see a lot of malefic crap in here. We got Pluto on the descendant. But that's been there back and forth for years with him. So, you know, I don't see a whole lot of, you know, Mars Pluto would be it. Let's see, Mars is squaring, let's see, 60, 90, maybe Neptune. Mars is squaring Neptune. You know, it's not that bad for him. Now his was bad in July. That was bad in July with those unalive incidents. That was bad in July. There were some nasty things, but I'm looking at my notes. Let me see about my notes. I've looked at these charts so much it's exhausting. You just got to keep looking at them. Let me see what else we've got. Oh, his Jupiter, transit Jupiter is trining his natal Jupiter. He's got Jupiter all over the place. Natal Jupiter is trining his transit Jupiter. That's another trine we got going on. You know, I don't know. So I can't find a whole lot of weird stuff in his chart. Let's see. Uranus conjunct his north node. Is Uranus conjunct his north node? Let me look. Sue, do you see anything else? No. I don't know where I got that. Mars is, well, no. No. His chart, no. There's not, I don't see. What I see is pretty positive. Okay. Now, this one with Kamala's chart, I put a circle around it and it whited out the 3 planets. I'm sorry it did that. Down in the 4th house, we've got she's got a triple conjunction. She's got Uranus, Pluto, and Venus all together down in her 4th house of lineage. This Saturn up at the top where this yellow arrow is has been going back and forth over those 3 planets opposing them. You can see the 3 green lines since I started looking at her chart. What does that mean? Saturn is karma. Saturn runs over your planets. It talks to them and says, "How's your karma life?" "Oh, it's good, Saturn. I've been really good." "Okay, I'm going to come back and take another look." Now he's coming back for his second look. Okay. It's in her lineage. There's something karmically going on in her lineage and her roots and her family because it's in the fourth house. We always look at the house. The planet morphs into what sign it's in, too. I mean, it's in her lineage. It's opposing Saturn. Saturn is karma. Okay. What else do we got going on? What she has really good going on, Uranus is conjunct Jupiter. What's interesting, I found she also has Algol in her chart. Now, I did another deep dive on Algol. As you all know, Trump has Algol in his chart as well. If you stood in front of Medusa, she would turn you to stone. If you stood behind Medusa, she's the strongest protector out there in the universe that we have. Strongest energy out there to protect somebody. That is, if you're walking the straight and narrow path. You know, she's in Algol is getting triggered in her chart by Jupiter. So we're going to have to take a look at that. We're going to have to watch that and see what happens with that one. Okay, she's got Mars, which we all know Mars is going to be that 0 degree in Leo, is going to be squaring her natal sun. That is a very, very difficult, that can be a very difficult transit to do. Mars square the sun. That's difficult. It's a hard transit. So she's got the oppositions going on with the family thing. And this is all coming. See, Saturn's at 12. We'll be at 12. He's about at 13 right now. It's hitting right now because those 3 planets are down there, and it's hitting Venus, it's hitting Pluto, and it's hitting Uranus. Shocking information. She does have transiting Jupiter on her ascendant. Okay. And that's good. But Jupiter is retreating. It's going retrograde, and it's at a 4. It's almost at 5 degrees. So it's wide. It's at 5 degrees on her north node. So she's got some good things in there, but she's also got some really tough transits in there. Transiting Pluto is also squaring her sun. So it's just kind of, there we go. You got to go. Let's see. You're gone. So that's her chart. What else is going on? Sun is conjunct Neptune. Can make you a little bit up in the clouds. Just depends on where you're vibrating with Neptune. What else is going on? Sue, do you see anything else? Did I miss anything else? Oh, Saturn is also hitting her Chiron up at the top of the chart. That's loss. She's got some tough transits. I don't like to see people in tough transits. She's had that opposition going on for quite a while. It's been brewing. What else? Pluto was in her 8th house of scandals. It will be going into her 9th house. She also got Saturn conjunct. I'll tell you what's getting her. What's going to be is the Mars squaring the sun and the Saturn oppositions. Now, do the Jupiter transits, are those lucky enough to pull this off? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. The whole lineage is what got me going with this. So I want to show you guys what I found out this week because I Googled her with the and roots and lineage this week. And look what popped up. I want to show you what popped up because it's very, very interesting because I knew it's out there. Neptune's at 29. Neptune's not at 29. Neptune's at 27 right now. Oh, I think Neptune's at 28 or 27. I think it's at 27. Transit Neptune's at 27. I think. I gotta find it. Oh, it's at 27 up here. Her transit Neptune. 27. 1, 2, 3. It's gonna be squaring her her ascendant. So Neptune's gonna be squaring her ascendant. 1, 2, 3. It's got a lot of squares, a lot of opposition. I don't like it. I don't like it. So when I Googled lineage, because that fourth house with her fourth house is very connected to her ancestors. Now, let's say they would have said, hey, we're going to hire you to be her astrologer. I would say you pull on those ancestors like you've never before. That's what is your strength, that and your Jupiter. But with Venus down there, Uranus, that's very, very strong. And Mercury, because she's a Gemini rising. Okay. So where's Mercury? Mercury. It's in the 7th house. Mercury's not really doing anything. 3. So, I Googled this and I want to show you what a reporter is working on right now. Right now, reporter Candace Owens is going through, guess what, you guys? Her lineage. I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. A family member from Canada sent, Candace Owens is a reporter, sent Candace Owens the family tree. Her uncle, and you have to listen to Candace's YouTube videos because this is going to break. She is not being too forthright about her lineage from what Candace Owens is finding out. It's under investigation right now, but apparently her relatives are sending Candace this information. They sent her pictures. Here is mom, dad, grandpa, great-grandpa, great-great-grandpa, great-great-great-grandpa. This side of her family is Jewish. Candace is still going through this. So you are familiar with what she's investigating. This is going on right now. So Tammy watches Candace every day. Okay, I know I blocked Keith. I blocked. Let's see. So when I Googled her with the roots and family, this is what came up. So keep an eye on this. This is brewing right now. To vote, like she checked, yeah, on where she's speaking. Yes. Well, you know what? I have a lot of respect for reporters because there just aren't any good journalists out there. So if she's finding out this information, more power to her, more power to get to the truth. So this is her grandfather. So from what Candace is saying, her lineage, from what she can see right now, is um, Indian Jewish, Indian Jewish, Irish, Indian Jewish Irish. So can you imagine that bombshell if that came out and hit the hit wide open? Guess what it would be? There's Saturn up there in the 10th house opposing that entire fourth house. Pluto. Pluto brings the dark to light. Uranus, shocking. Venus is the female. So it's, Indian, Irish, and Jewish. Okay, thank you for clarifying. I knew it was something like that. So this is breaking like right now, Tammy. And what's funny is Saturn just is crossing in to go and oppose these. This should blow open, I would say, within a week. But there's so much going on right now. This is crazy that it is matching and hit. Well, I don't know why I think it's crazy, because the astrology is always right. It's that accurate. When that Mars hits that sun, this is all coming to light. The sun shines a light on everything, and Mars is going in. That's going to be a very, very tough transit. And it may be linked to this whole lineage thing. Well, I hope we get to the truth. I hope we find out the truth. We need to find out the truth. We should be told the truth by people that are going to be running and supposed to be telling us the truth. So that's that information. I thought that this was very, very interesting. I love lineage. I love roots. And I guess I have a hard time with it, because why not just be honest? We're all of us that are here are melting pots. All of our DNA is, oh, I'm Irish, German, English, or I'm this or that. We're all melting pots here. Nobody would have cared. So I don't understand the hiding it. That's what I think I don't understand, because we're all melting pots. All of our ancestors came over. I mean, it is what it is. That's all of us. We're all like mixed breeds here. All of us. We've all got a bunch of DNA. So, yeah, that was supposed to be her grandmother that she has in a book. And a lady that lived next door to the grandmother said no, she was light skinned. It's coming out. You can't hide this kind of stuff. And you sure can't hide it when Saturn is up there. I told you, the worst thing you can ever do when Saturn is up there in the skies, up around your chart, is lie. You can't, you're doomed. You're absolutely doomed. Doomed. So we'll see how it plays out. I think it's pretty interesting. But the astrology is spot on. It's spot on. It's right down to the house. It's hitting in the house. So this is how it's supposed to be. So we'll see what happens. I think, she's getting millions of views. This kind of news you just can't keep in. These are her thumbnails. So, thumbnails like this are going to take get some attention. She's a good reporter. I like her. I like her. I like her work. I like her ethic. She's very factual. So that's that. I thought that was pretty interesting. And there's the family. All right, you guys, I thought that was interesting. Does anybody else have anything to say? I thought that was interesting. The only transit that I saw, like I said, was that darn Mars-Pluto. That Mars-Pluto, I don't like it. But we got cooler heads. They will prevail. That Saturn is going to just clamp down on us. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. So, okay, you guys, last notice, November the 9th. That is the in the beginning astrology class via Zoom. Crystal is going to be teaching that with me. Bring a friend and their fee is waived. So we're taking registration right now. So just email me or DM me on Facebook, Raven's Nest Spirit at Gmail, and we'll get you registered. It's going to be a good class. This class is for people that have never taken astrology. It's going to be a great class. Last class of the year before the beginning of the year. So we're doing raffles. We're going to have fun. It's like a holiday class. So remember, you guys, that next week is the Halloween show with all the hosts like Keith, Howie's going to pop in, Susan. It'll just be a really good show. So that'll be next week. So everybody have a great week. Keep an eye on that story because it's going to develop. Mark my words, it's coming. You Saturn. It's the karma train. It's going to be all aboard on the karma train. It's interesting. So have a great week. Be safe. Be kind. And I will talk to you guys next Wednesday. Thank you. Good night.